started.
Okay.
Hey, welcome to another episode of the Blackout Tips podcast. I'm your host, Rod, joined as always by my co-host,
Karen.
And we're live on a Saturday, ready to do some feedback. Find us everywhere you get podcasts. Search the Blackout Tips. The official weapon of the show is
folding chair
and an unofficial sport,
bullet ball.
And bullet ball, extreme. Let's get into the upfront. Listen, there are plenty of tickets available for our live show coming up the 28th of February. But I'm gonna be honest with you, VIP tickets are going. Okay, I don't know how many are left, but they're going. So if you want to do the meet and greet, get a poster that's signed by me and Karen, possibly get a picture with us, make sure you guys sign up for the VIP. But there's also plenty of other seats available. And y'all got to be our VIP. You're all VIPs to us. And in addition to that, the Rialto Theater, I'm going to be there next Friday night with Bomani Jones for the Basketball Jones. You can get tickets to that. Just it's spelled Railto Theater, the Basketball Jones. And yeah, go ahead and get you some tickets to that. That's going to be a fun time as well. And yeah, if you're premium, make sure that you're still able to get your premium RSS feeds. Email me if you need help, but I made a blog post on our website because the RSS feed that we used to use is still down for maintenance. I don't know when it's coming back up. So if you're like, they haven't updated since December, that's not true. There's plenty of new stuff out there right now waiting on you.
You just have to let us know that you're having technical difficulties.
Yeah, so I've sent that link and helped people get their account straight, and it's really, I don't mind helping you. Just let me know, and we'll get to the bottom of it. I'm committed to trying to figure out whatever's going on with everybody's account. So
right,
the blackouttips@gmail.com is where you get in contact with that. All right. Let's get into the feedback show, guys. Okay, now there's lots of stuff to talk about, but the first thing we always talk about on the feedback show are the people that took the time out to go to our website, look on the right-hand side, and say, I would like to support the show. And they support in all kinds of denominations and amounts. They support week, monthly, one time. It doesn't matter, but we like to give them a shout out.
May I have your attention? You are now listening to Charlotte's Own Rod and Karen. We welcome the good folks who tithe to the Black Guy Who Tips.
That's right. New dollars, new hollers. Don G, Annie P, and I hope you're okay. Tom W.J., David from Brooklyn, Michael S., Bomani Jones, the aforementioned Bomani Jones. I'll see him next Friday. Nicholas Z., Laura E., Noel W., Pete B., Johanna M., Douglas R., and lastly Laura F. Thank you everybody for coming through, putting a little something on our commissary. We appreciate you. Can't wait to get some oatmeal cream pies and some ramen noodles. We appreciate that. Thank you. All right, let's get into the show. All right, there's shows we did last week. Y'all left comments on the shows via our website, voting in the polls, via our YouTube, emails, all kinds of stuff. No voicemails this week, I noticed, but all kinds of stuff. But I'm sorry, I'm tripping. I'm out of order. Before I do that, I have to read y'all's 5-star reviews. Y'all did do it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm tripping. I'm bad. I never forget that. That's really the only reason I do the feedback show.
For real though.
If it wasn't for these 5-star reviews, this shit,
why is we here?
It would have dried up a long time ago. Thank you to people that took the time out to go to Apple Podcasts, whether it's the app, whether the website, whatever you did, and you left us a 5-star review, and it was nice, and we're going to read them. The first one is from Amir Amor Noir. Updated because y'all deserve 5 stars. Finally got a chance to update this review. One of the greatest podcasts of all time. Karen jokes and puns have been so good lately.
Yay!
And Rod is full on middle namist, but we can't always like everything. This podcast is gonna take us through the fire of 2025. Love y'all. I think that's Ronnie Raphael's alias.
Gotta be.
Who else would be obsessed with those things? Been so long in my Anita Baker voice, says Tao Petty, who says, I finally have a break in classes to catch up with my favorite folks. So I'm so elated that some of my favorite segments are still around and all of the new intros are bops. I'm so glad to be back and have made time for y'all on my ride to and from work. Side note, for the folks who gassed me up when I said it was a good idea to go back to school when I was 48. Oh, heart emoji. Thank you. I'm glad that the people gassed you up and told you go ahead and go back to school, girl.
Go ahead and get that education.
New year, new 5-star review. Oh, I said girl, but I actually don't know Teddy's. My bad. Just whatever. Them, they, he, her, whatever your pronouns are. My bad.
Get that education.
New year, new 5-star review. This is from L Boogie 2064. It says Rod and Karen are hot because they help keep us sane in this alternate world we're currently living in. I was introduced to this dynamic duo last year via the Karen Hunter show on Foolishness Fridays and have been hooked since. I enjoy listening to their honest and clear-cut opinions about current events on a weekly basis. Thank you.
Yay! Shout out to Karen.
Karen Hunter, man, she is the bloom that keeps on blooming for all of us. Okay, glad to be part of the family in that way. And it's been a very rewarding experience. And I know she doesn't like getting complimented or whatever, but I will always have kind words to say about her because she really did open up her audience to us in a way that she didn't have to. And has been nothing but like above board and kind and straightforward. All the things that you think when you listen to her show, she's been nothing but that towards me, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I believe in giving people their flowers while they're here. Like, I really do believe that, and you have to. When people are doing, particularly nowadays, where all jokes aside, there's so many fake and false and phony people and people that say they do one thing or they're pretending in public, then you get to know them, you be like, oh, you an ass.
Right.
No, she is what she is, and she's a great person.
Re-up 5 stars by Magnificent Breeze, who says it's been about 8 years and I'm still loving this podcast. Yes, 8 years. Karen and Rod are Tina Turner verse simply the best, better than all the rest. Thank you, we appreciate you. And that's the 5-star reviews. Now we can get into the actual show stuff. So let me pull this up. 3038. That chicken big and good was the title of this one. We got how many comments? 8 comments. All right, let's start first with I can't even tell who left the first comment. Okay, it looks like Nebs beat Appia. Congratulations, Nebs, you did it. Doesn't happen often.
All right, don't happen too
but
often.
When it happens, we gotta acknowledge it. Nebs says, "Are black bears with white fur just light skin?" Great point, Nebs. Great point. Colorism is real.
It is, even in the bear community.
Big Bank says, now EVE, you want us to believe that the hot just all of a sudden implemented this rule? LOL. Okay, sis. The hot, I think there might be a typo. The HOA. That's what it was, a correction. HOA, because EVE said that her HOA implemented a rule to make sure people took down their Christmas lights, even though she's the Scrooge of her community. And Big Bang is saying, oh, it's a coincidence, huh? You was complaining, and then all of a sudden the HOA took it down. EVE was over there writing letters to the HOA.
You on the president you on the board. EVE on the board.
Humbug.
I would not stand for this bullshit.
And I don't want to give them a Christmas goose.
EVE is like, this is why I go to the meetings.
Appia says, I'm late. I found it interesting that Hassan Minaj presented Justin with the Greatest Feminist Award after all the other cast members refused to promote the movie with him. It didn't make me feel better about Hassan. Rona Raphael replied, Hassan also platformed Andrew Yang as a serious candidate when he still had a show on Netflix. I used to like his stand-up based on being an immigrant. Outside of that, I don't like this man, especially after hearing talking about Democrats having to earn our votes. I've suspected him, knowing how he runs his mouth when it comes to politics, Russian agent, in my opinion. The fact that Baldoni referred to him as soul brother is all I need. Okay, I'm just gonna be real with y'all. Y'all are way more petty than I am about this. So if you go to the actual article, it says it ends with us star Hassan Minhaj presented Justin Baldoni with hold on.
Of any mammal.
Damn it, son of a bitch. This thing just started covering up the whole headline for some reason. But yeah, it's basically saying he presents him with this award, right? The thing is, Hassan Minaj didn't present him. Oh yeah, presented Justin Baldoni as women's rights ally 1 week before lawsuit. The thing is, Hassan Minaj did not actually present this. Like, this was not a Hassan Minaj's award show. This was not Hassan Minaj's idea, or like, I chose this man. It was at an award show called the Vital Voices Solidarity Awards. So they have rescinded this award from Justin Baldoni in the wake of all this the legal battle with Blake Lively,
Right,
which I don't blame him.
How would they know?
Right. But like, if you're going to blame somebody, knowing how award shows work, you be blaming the people that gave him the award, not the presenter.
Yeah.
That's just y'all taking something and making it personal. That's not personal.
Right.
It could have been anybody presenting him that award. It's
Yes.
just, that's who they had do it. I don't know if Hassan has won like previously or something, or what, like, why it would be like. I still think it looks bad just optically, but I think it's on the award show. If I was the award show, I probably wouldn't want a man presenting another man an award for being an ally. I mean, but then again, I guess this whole award show is going to be kind of, you can cynically look at this award show premise as like, why are we even giving awards to people for being allies? That's kind of folks how they feel about that. None of this bothers me. I think there's a space for like honoring people for being good allies. I think there should be a space. I think there should be more to being in community together than just admonishment when people get things wrong.
Right.
There should be some acknowledgement when people get things right. That being said, you can never know what the fuck is happening behind the scenes with anybody. I think it's dope that they rescinded the award in the wake of the lawsuit to be like, hey, we don't know what the fuck happened and this does not look good for you. So, we're taking it back. But yeah, I think going at Hassan over this is kind of missing the bigger point, that this was not a Hassan decision as much as it was an industry decision. He could have chosen not to honor the guy, but before any of this shit came out,
Nobody knew.
It would have just looked weird on his part, especially if he didn't know the inner workings. Right. The question really becomes, how much did he know? And I think it's reasonable to assume, I think it's the stuff he's alleged of doing seems very personal in some instances, and like he was showing his ass around certain people on the set, but not everybody.
That's how abusers are.
Yeah, so who knows? Maybe Hassan is a piece of shit that knew the whole time and didn't give a fuck. Maybe he's a guy got caught up in the wrong place. And as far as his political earn my vote type thing, I think Whoopi kind of straightened him out on the shop with LeBron and them. But people are allowed to feel the way he feels, and some people are going to say the stuff he says, and there's plenty of other reasons people don't like him or think he's fake or whatever, and that's something for him to deal with. I'm not doing the Hassan Minaj defense podcast or anything. I find him to be funny at times, and a little bit kind of weird with the the stuff about the making up all these stories, and I still think that's weird. I don't care that people go, well, it's comedy. I think his brand of comedy is a little different than some people, so it hurt him in a way that it wouldn't hurt Eddie Murphy, because he's like, no, this is my honest life and these are the things that are happening to me. So anyway, good luck to him, though. I don't harbor any ill will towards the dude. Just I get it if you don't like him, or if you do. Shoe Booty says, Rod, it matters a lot to hear someone, especially a man, say out loud they're not going to be tricked by Justin Baldoni's tactics. As a woman, it really matters to hear at least one male person who isn't being swayed by his weird clapback campaign. You laid out all the it doesn't matter points so clearly. He engaged a PR firm to destroy her. That is enough. No
Right.
whataboutism here. None of that. Maybe they both suck. Concessions. Fuck that guy, fake ass feminist. Yeah, and maybe it's because I'm older now. And it's definitely because I did a lot of work about my empathy and not letting my empathy is not a tool for people to use. Meaning, just because I feel bad that you put yourself in a bad situation, just because I think there's maybe a legal recourse where, like, in a court of law you may have a case, that does not erase my emotions and intuition about things, and the most I can do on here is just be upfront with my emotions and intuitions on things, because I would happily let it all go if something comes out that really feels like damning in a way where I'm like, fuck, I guess it is all on Blake Lively. I will happily let it go, because I don't have any reason to like or dislike these people I had not really heard of or thought about before this happened.
Agreed.
But I think it is very telling when Mr. Feminist hires the same PR people that went on a blitz against Amber Heard. And,
right.
And if you followed the Amber Heard Johnny Depp thing, regardless of who you think is, if you think they're both pieces of shit, whatever the fuck you arrived at, regardless of that, if you look at the tactics they use, you cannot tell me those are up and up tactics. You can't. Like, and honestly, dog, like I said, a couple people defended that shit on my Facebook page, and I can't get over it. I feel like, oh, that says something about you.
Yes.
Not just your gullibility, but like the kind of person you are. Because I know when I've had interpersonal conflicts with people, even stuff that's public, even people that y'all would be like, if I came out and told y'all on the podcast, like, I don't fuck with them, y'all be like, oh, wow, I know who that person is, right? Mm-hmm. I've never come on here and did no shit like that. I would never hire somebody to slander them. I would never create bots to fucking just, I'm gonna destroy their reputation. I would just straight up tell y'all the truth as I see it, of this is what the fuck happened, if I was gonna put that out there. To use backhanded, surreptitious nature tactics to take someone down via online misogyny while patting yourself on the back as a feminist, while making that your brand of your podcast, I'm sorry, if that isn't enough for you right there, then there's never anything any person can ever say, and you're just stuck there. And so you just have to deal with being that kind of motherfucker that's like, don't take much for me to just be like, the woman's wrong and I'm out. So that's it. And I know secretly everyone thinks every woman's a bitch. Secretly, we deep down, and it's easy to hate them. But like, don't we have enough evidence of men being some bitch ass niggas too to be like, you know what? Really don't take much for me to jump to that conclusion either. I just feel like it was an open and shut case when I found out he hired that firm. That's to me, even if I was feeling unfairly maligned by this person, I would not hit that button. I'd rather go on my podcast and say, this is what happened, than be like, let me go behind the scenes and try to destroy this person's career. That's foul to me. Says a lot about you. Like, cause I'm a person that tells y'all every day that we come on this show, I'm not playing, I don't pander, and I don't play the games of like, well, I need to listen. We have a lot of women listeners and I'm afraid to piss them off. No, it's literally right and wrong. That's it. So sometimes women are wrong and they just fucking wrong. You like, that shit was wrong. Right. Sometimes men are wrong. And they just wrong, and that's all. Sometimes trans people, Latino, like whatever marginalization people exist under, you can be wrong and also be marginalized.
Yes, you can.
In this case, Wayne did what I consider to be like the preponderance of like what we've heard so far in the press, which, you know, we'll see what happens if they go to court, because I think that'll be more interesting than leaks to the press. But Wayne, what we've heard so far, it is much easier for me to be like, this dude did some shady shit. Period. And that's it. If you said she stole your movie, then just say she stole your. Go on your fucking show. You have a podcast and be like, let me tell y'all what Blake Lively did to me.
Right. Say it with your chest.
Don't hire somebody to leak shit to the press. You sound like a bitch to me, bro. Do the shit. Say the shit with your chest. Fuck, I care about if she's a woman or not. If you right, you right. This made you look worse.
Yes, it did.
So now you got back. Now you got caught being underhanded. And now you like, well, I'm suing her for $4 billion. I'm like, well, I'm sorry. That doesn't sway me now. Sofa King says, still catching up on a backlog of episodes. I've heard Karen mention multiple times about how excited she is to see Tyler, the Creator, in concert. Mm-hmm. Well, a random glance at your timeline showed what I presume to be a picture from one of his albums, which resulted in me having a who is this nigga reaction. Fast forward to an internet rabbit hole later, and I discovered that I have apparently spent years thinking Tyler, the Creator, and Chance the Rapper were the same person.
Oh no, they are not the same.
I don't know why I felt the need to share this, but I guess it counts as feedback from a certain point of view. Yeah.
I'm glad you found out they were completely different.
It happens to the best of us. Erica says, I appreciate Rod's commentary on the Blake Lively situation. I understood what was going on. It was cool to hear a man's defense of a woman. Rod is the greatest real talk. Just wondering if the movie's even worth watching. I heard good things about the movie, but I heard good things about the movie, to be honest. It's just, man, that whole situation is just crazy. People that crash out and destroy their own shit over like interpersonal beef or whatever, I don't relate. Mm-mm. I just can't. Maybe I just haven't been in the right situation to do that, but
agreed.
To destroy your own shit to me just seems ridiculous. And those leaks and the attack on her in the press while she's promoting the movie y'all both are in just sounds fucking ridiculous. Like, you just need to just chill the fuck out. Like, you might make it through this unscathed. You know how many women actresses tell these stories years later where they're in an interview and they don't name the name, but they'll just be like, in one audition, the co-star did this thing to me,
and they don't name
and we're all like, damn, that's fucked up. And part of us is probably like, I wonder who it is. What's his name? Well, I wish they would tell us who it was. But a lot of these women go to their grave never telling us who it was, because they know that we like these men that are their co-stars, and these people are powerful,
and they know they won't be believed. And it would not be surprising that for a lot of these women, they all probably talking about the same person, but just don't know that they're talking about the same person,
or they're accused of like, you just did this for clout, or you just trying to make a name. Yeah, exactly. So that, and it still happens to this day. Like, every once in a while you just see a star where it's like Rosie Perez is like, this thing was terrible when I worked on the set of this movie. Every once in a while they will give you a specific, but a lot of times for years they just talk around it. Justin Baldoni could have been one of those stories.
Yes.
He could have sat there, ate his food, let the box office returns come in, let everybody either nominate him for awards or continue to think he's a really great ally and a great guy. And then years later, when she's mentioning on this one movie and not being specific, he would know it's about him, but no one else will have to know.
Right.
He could have done that, but he chose to go on the attack, and now she had to defend herself at some point.
Mm-hmm. Because everybody, and a lot of people that abuse, they are under the expectation that the victim is powerless and not going to say anything. But when they run up on the right one / the wrong one, it's like, hey, I'm actually going to fight you. That's when all hell breaks loose, because a lot of times they're not prepared for somebody to fight back and to have their shit together, and not trying to funny have the finances, because a lot of times women in this situation, a lot of times most of the abuse is one way, don't have the finances nor the resources to fight back. She's like, I got the finances, I got the resources, I got the manpower, I can do this just as long as you can, bitch.
Well, also and this is what sucks, because it's when you fight back, they rely on that to be like, now see, isn't she a bitch? Or it's really like both of us are bad. That thing. And I'm like, I know the difference. I'm a human being. And yeah, I get it. When you walk into the middle of a fight, if you walked into the middle of the street and you saw me fighting a dude, you're thinking, oh my God, these two guys are fighting. They need to stop fighting. Violence is never the answer. But if you were there a minute before and saw this dude like, grab my wallet out of my pants, and then I started fighting him to get my wallet back, you'd be like, oh, well, no, that makes sense. Rod wouldn't just walk down the street and start swinging on the guy. It's like these people in these lawsuits like this, whenever they just want us to show up when it's convenient so they can go, it's like we're just both fighting, right? Like, we're both fighting, and it's kind of sad that we're both fighting, and really, it's like she's the one that's really being an asshole about it. And you're like,
they just want you to walk away.
Yeah, but you're like, if you read what she said, these are fighting words.
Yes, they are.
This whole, like, even the way it's presented, and of course this is what lawyers should do, right? They're presenting legal arguments. I'm not expecting them to be fair and balanced, but that's where I come in. The lawyers leaking stuff like Ryan Reynolds was mean to me. He just wants us to read a headline and go, Ryan Reynolds was mean to you. That's what he wants us to read and go, what the fuck is wrong with Ryan Reynolds? Why is he so mean? As opposed to, Ryan Reynolds was mean to me because he felt that I was being sexually inappropriate towards his fucking wife.
Yes.
Now, that seems to make a lot more sense to me. That doesn't, why would Ryan Reynolds out of nowhere just start being a dick to just the co-star of a movie with his wife? That's a very important movie to him and his wife. just out of nowhere. He's just, I'm a fucking piece of shit now. No, he probably felt vindicated for a reason. Now you can say his reasoning isn't good or whatever, but the point is, there's a history there. Will Smith smacks Chris Rock. There's a history there. You ain't gotta agree with it. You ain't gotta excuse it. But if you just present it as Will Smith just smacked Chris Rock, I bet if you look into it, it's not out of nowhere, because most people don't move out of nowhere.
Right.
You just can either look at those reasons and say those are good reasons to me or bad reasons. But the point is, there's normally a reason.
Yes, there is.
Anyway, okay. Then EVE says, I never heard that Church's had chicken. I've never had Church's chicken because I don't trust that they're so big for that price point. Those have to be genetically mutated birds, as opposed to Arby's, nigga. You eat Arby's. What the hell are you talking about? Have you ever seen a chicken cordon bleu from Arby's? It's bigger than the bread.
It is.
It's huge. It's basically a Church's chicken thigh with no bones. But I have had the biscuits. They're really good. But every time I ever saw a Church's, I was deep in the hood. Well, that's true too. And not just the regular hood, the part where you may see an occasional body on the street. Well, facts are facts. Mm-hmm. I've never seen a Church's in the suburbs. Maybe they're trying to rebrand by including the Texas chicken part. Yeah. I remember one time seeing a Church's, it was like refurbished or brand or newish, and it was like hood adjacent, and that was like the nicest place I've ever seen a Church's.
Had a drive through. I know. Yeah. Yes. It
wasn't like a nice part of town, but it was the nicest part of town I ever seen a Church's.
It was like a transitioning part.
Yeah.
Yes. I bet you we go back over there now, that Church's is gone.
Probably is. I can't imagine. There was a lot of business there. Anyway, YouTube, we got several comments. Dark Namja just to winky face emojis. I am smooth one says 33 mark. That's not true. The dude who played Weasel said something about Ryan Reynolds being an asshole. So is Gerard Butler. He was accused of stealing by an Indian actress. The Deadpool director had beef with him too. LOL, Ryan Reynolds has a few people in the industry who have spoken out on him. And I replied, you mean Tim Miller, the director of all the Deadpool movies, who's been coming back and is Ryan's best friend? Where are you getting your facts from? Let's also talk about the dude who played Weasel. I'm glad you brought that up. You should not have brought that one up, man. Unless you think I'm dumb, which maybe that's what you thought. Maybe you thought I'm fucking stupid, and you're like, I'll get over on Rod with this dumb shit. He don't know. But TJ Miller,
yes, that creep,
got caught being a fucking piece of shit. And TJ Miller was a big fucking deal at the time.
Yes, he was.
That he was in that movie. He allegedly assaulted an Uber driver. And the thing that I think is interesting there is that Ryan Reynolds and them said, no, we don't want him back in.
Yeah, didn't they write him out?
Yeah, I think they had his character killed or something. But they did not have him back in the movies at a time when motherfuckers would have been like, it's whatever, it's cool. Like, hey, he's a popular comedian and people thought he was funny in the movie, so I'm just gonna have him back in the movie. Fuck it don't matter. And I honestly, I took note of at the time. I took note and was like, so you said no to TJ Miller already.
And that was a big thing. Like at that time, people who might not remember underestimated how huge he was to come back at the time, because he was literally on everything. Like, yeah, you looked around, he was in tons of movies.
Yeah, and Ryan Reynolds and them was like, and Ryan Reynolds, I give credit because him and his director are like this. They basically hired writers to like when Fox would not pay for writers, Ryan Reynolds paid for writers to be on set so they can make the movie better. Mm-hmm. Like the reason Deadpool doesn't suck as one of these fucking Fox X-Men spinoffs is because of Ryan Reynolds directly giving a fuck about the character in the movie that much.
Yes.
But that also makes me have to give him credit because he's in a producing situation type of role there, not just starring in the film. And he was like, no, TJ Miller's out. We're not having that guy back on our set.
I'm pretty sure he had to fight somebody on that too, and like tooth and nail, and was like, I don't give a fuck. I said no.
So telling me that fucking TJ Miller, or the dude who played Weasel, as you politely put it, has an issue with Ryan Reynolds and thinks Ryan Reynolds is the asshole, I'm back on the side of Ryan Reynolds. The guy with multiple allegations of sexual assault doesn't sway me because he doesn't like that Ryan Reynolds said, you're out of the fucking movie club.
Right.
What are you doing, bro? Come on, fam. What are we doing? I've never heard of this stealing by an Indian actress thing, but yeah, the point being, this is paltry. And you know what I'm talking about. We don't have, even in the things you brought up, we don't have a single story of Ryan Reynolds always blowing up on people. Ryan Reynolds cussing people out, making them feel unsafe. Ryan Reynolds inviting actors to his house so he can threaten them in front of his wife.
Everybody tells everything nowadays. We would know trust.
This one motherfucker got a story and we're like, yep, that's it. Ryan Reynolds is a piece of shit. Anyway, he said, I meant had is in the past, not that it was ongoing. Sorry that wasn't clear in my comment. It was creative differences and now he's getting pulled into the lawsuit. I think I'm doing a very poor job trying to construe what I'm saying. I don't want you to think I'm attacking you because I'm not. Oh, I don't feel attacked. This is just what happens when people say things that I think are misleading at best. So I don't feel attacked. I can't let this happen on my airways where you say something like this and I act stupid and be like, well, Weasel thought he was an asshole. Maybe he is. Nah, we not having that. I'm just saying that there have been people who have spoken negatively about Reynolds. I'm sure there's people, anyone been in Hollywood that long, there's people that spoke negatively about them. Mm-hmm. There's also people that just don't like his style of acting, his delivery. J.L. Covan did a whole episode on the guy. But that doesn't make him a piece of shit or not a stand-up dude. Baldoni should be punished for truly going with a smear campaign. I 1,000% agree, and I look forward to this lawsuit coming because won't be any hiding in the despicable behaviors. That's assuming he doesn't drop it. And someone replied to this. Tamara Cherie says you should definitely try my candles, Rod and Karen. Well, send us a link. I don't even know how can I try your candles from the YouTube
and I don't
comments?
even know what candles.
But yeah, look, man, you can't. I think you did do kind of a bad job initially of trying whatever point you were trying to convey. But I just want you to understand, none of that sways or changes anything about this situation. Even if somehow it would have been true, that's no Gerard Butler, dog. I fuck with Gerard Butler movies, but come on, bro, he not no beacon of fucking virtue. Anyway, let's say all this is true and he was jerks to all these people and it wasn't about that dude being a fucking serial accused sexual assaulter guy. It still wouldn't change what happened in this instance of somebody fucking with your wife on the set of her movie. I guess we just don't relate. Me and you, we not the same kind of guy. Cause honestly, I'd rather you fuck with me, to be honest. If I'd rather you be like, Rod Morrow's a piece of shit. Fine, okay, I'm a piece of shit. You don't like me. But if you sexually harass my wife or do some shit to make her feel uncomfortable at the job, I'm an on-site type of person. And it's lucky that Ryan Reynolds is a cooler head prevail. He's not trying to like beat the dude's ass, but he's like, I'm going to set you straight. What the fuck is your problem? We're here. Yeah, I'm here. Let's talk it out right now and squash this shit, because I'm letting you know under no uncertain terms this behavior will not fucking continue.
Right.
And this dude walked out of there and said, I'm gonna hire a PR firm to attack this man's wife. Okay. I can't believe he put a character in his movie picking on me. Well, no one knew it but you until you said so.
No one knew it.
But thank you for letting the world know that I'm a petty motherfucker, because I want the world to know. I'm sure Ryan Reynolds is, now I'm projecting, but I bet Ryan Reynolds is a lot like me. Well, he's like, Blake, let me fry this nigga up. Let me just cook him. It's fine. It'll be okay. Yes, it'll look bad for the movie for a little bit, but let me tell the world who this motherfucker is. And she probably was like, nah, I'm doing the press run. It's gonna distract from the movie. We got things working in the background. Hopefully it'll go away. And it just gets worse and it gets worse. And the fucking PR campaign won't stop, and the bots won't stop, and the online rumor campaign won't stop, and the leaks to the press won't stop. And eventually it's like, I'm going to sue his ass. We actually have evidence on our side as well. That's it. And then I'm sure Ryan Reynolds, if he's anything like me, was like, let me at his ass. So that's my projection, though. I don't know he's like that for real, but that's my projection. Anime Prince says, yeah, they'll spread rumors about black people being hard to work with, and it's just them defending themselves against some nonsense. Yeah, man. That's why I can't. Like this brother, Smooth, he's black. And I'm like, I can't believe you can't relate to it on that level alone.
Because it's a woman.
Like we've all seen that or had it done to us as a black person. Mm-hmm. Where someone preemptively started saying something about us, and it's like, why are they coming at me? And it's because they know, you got the stories, you got where the body's buried. You could come out and talk about your treatment, and everybody's gonna go, that sounds like that happened. But if they can get to you first and be like, he's an incompetent employee. Okay, he's just entitled. He's lazy. He's rude. He's not good. And so when I come out and I'm like, yeah, he has to pet my hair in the bathroom, and I thought that was really weird and made me feel uncomfortable. Oh, you mean the lazy, entitled guy who's always making stuff up? You mean that guy said someone touched his hair? Yeah, I don't think so. Right? It's like a preemptive thing. So it happens to black people all the time. It happens to women all the time. It happens to all kinds of people all the time. Mm-hmm. I don't know. To me, it feels like that's what's playing out. And look, we'll see in court if we can get any clarity. We may not. It may be like Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, where they spin every single thing, and if you walk out of there, you're like, yep, she's crazy, he's crazy. But I in my soul feel like that's probably not what happened. Jinful says, what's so wild to me is that people keep claiming we know Ellen is an asshole. When I remember correctly, it was her staff and not her employees that were complaining about. It was. If you looked at the actual workplace allegations, it was all the middlemen, like the people between Ellen and the staff, like, and some of them got like fired and in trouble, like
yes, they did.
Me Too level shit. Like I'm talking sexually harassing men at work.
They got rid of them, which is what they asked people to do, and they said, we don't care. You got rid of them. Still, fuck you, bitch.
Yeah, so that was an interesting thing to see in real time, because I remember really disagreeing with a lot of the portrayal of what people were saying. And I think that's before I worked in TV on a show that's, similar in nature as far as the hierarchy and having a personality at the top. And once you see it and you've been there, you see how it can happen and it not be that person's fault.
Agreed.
But I just think people don't like women, and I think everybody likes having a negative story about a woman. And I think it really, like I think I brought it up last week, but it really was telling when the Steve Harvey of it all came out, and people just thought he was just keeping it real. And I said,
yes,
okay. So it's just, she's a woman. She's not allowed to be like, I don't want people talking to me. We don't have her on record saying I don't want people talking to me. But literally we have a actual like a note that Steve Harvey left on his door saying basically, leave me the fuck alone, don't talk to me. And we're like applauding him. So yeah, the standard is double. Will says, I learned about you on Foolishness Friday from the Karen Hunter show. Thank you for keeping it 100. Thank you. And tomorrow Cherie says, Gosling better than Reynolds. Sure. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but sure. Like, this is that weird thing people do where it's like, we weren't talking about that, so it wouldn't matter to me if Ryan Gosling's better than Ryan Reynolds. But I love Ryan Gosling's acting and stuff ever since I saw what was it, The Nice Guys and Barbie.
Barbie did it for
and he was great in I think The Fall Guy. Like, I'm a big fan of his now. So and on screen, I just fuck with Ryan Reynolds as a wife guy. Like, I mean, I love him as Deadpool too, but as a man standing up for your woman, man, put that in my veins, dogs. Don't let nobody disrespect your girl. We not playing that shit. Have you ever had Church's chicken? 75% yes, 25% no.
Go to churches on a budget. Don't fuck around and have $20 y'all eating for days.
My guess is that y'all just might live in areas where you don't even have an option.
That's true too.
For some folks that say no.
Yeah, depending on where you're in the country, I don't think churches is everywhere.
Like, I've never had Del Taco, but I've never been in a place where Del Taco existed.
That's true too.
All right, let's go to the next episode, but first to play some music.
Psycho.
Music.
All right. Episode 39, Lonely Flowers. We had Roy Wood Jr. on to talk about his special and a bunch of other things too. Rona Raphael said Roy's stand-up was not just funny, but was not just funny good, but it was a solid, funny, good time. Definitely worth of replaying again and again. Intelligent comedy that anyone could connect to. I highly recommend. Gonna be rotating between Roy and JL for my replaying of stand-ups that I enjoy. FL Duchess 16 says, I hate I missed this live. I watched Roy stand up over the weekend and I laughed from beginning to end. Keep making fam you proud, Roy. You know, he be messing with them rattlers. Appia says, I wish Roy all the success with his projects. You might see someone on TV and think they made it, but there's so much constant work involved. Yeah, he's a working ass dude.
Ain't he though?
Jesus, when Rod said when he runs again, when Roy said when he runs again, I screeched and threw my headphones. I can't with this racist ass Orange Groundhog Day. EVE said, yeah, they already drafted up something trying to see if he can get a third term. And they specifically drafted it in a way where Obama wouldn't be able to run for a third term because they still scared of Obama. This is the reason. Listen, man, I won't go into a whole thing, but this is the reason I don't give a fuck what Twitter says about Barack Obama. At the end of the day, he is still the scariest thing to the GOP, period. Like, I'm not saying he would win a third term or not. I don't know, because motherfuckers do be racist and horrible and unmotivated. But I know this, they ain't scared of these other people.
No, they're not.
They're scared. They be scared of Obama coming back and actually being the name on the ticket. The speeches being his speeches for him. Now, that being said, I do not think that man can run again. I think Michelle would kill this man in his sleep.
Cause she's like, I'm not going through that no more.
I can't even see her doing
They be
this
like,
shit.
Michelle divorced. I was like, yeah, that sound about right.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm not going through that bullshit again.
I think murder-suicide. It's no motherfucking way she letting this man do
No.
this shit to her a third time.
Right.
She don't even want to go to these She didn't go to inauguration. She didn't go to that funeral. I think listen, Michelle's always been my fave because I've always felt, people always talk about the anger, Luther, the anger translator of Obama. And I'm not saying Michelle's an angry black woman, but I just mean like when it comes to how black people really feel about this country, and at least black people like me, I've always felt Michelle was way more relatable than Barack, just because I think Barack is one of one.
Yep,
They only made one black man like that. That's the only black man that can get to be president. And I understand that. I understood it the whole time. I never expected more or less of him. He's always been exactly who I thought he was.
Right.
But Michelle has been a pleasant surprise because that is a black woman all day, every day. And from the expression on her face when they had the Trump inauguration, to the way she took her hair down and was busy and unbothered when she got out the White House.
Yep.
Everything about her, I've always had a lot of respect for her, just the way she gets down.
Yeah, and it's I agreed, and I really do think if she could have, she would have skipped the first one, but she didn't have. I guarantee you, they probably begged her until like the last second because she was like, I ain't going. I told y'all. They was like, you got to go. I told y'all. They were like, you got to go. Fine.
Yeah,
I guarantee you that's how that went. She went fine. She rolled her eyes. She slicked her hair back, and she was like, well, I guess damn.
Yeah, y'all just getting this updo, and I'm gonna hand y'all this cake somebody else made, but
right, and I don't give a fuck, and it's gonna show up my face, and I don't want to be here, bitch.
Roy is always a good time, says EVE when he comes on. I will have to check out his new show. I'm so glad Arsenio saved him from whooping B2K's ass because honestly, other than the Marion, it seems like life has already done that to them. Oh shit. Let's see, on YouTube we got 11 comments on this episode. Let's check it out. Always like hearing Roy Wood Jr. I'm looking forward to a fun episode, says Cynthia Rose. CPJ Morgan says, thank you for stopping through, Roy. Rooting for you always. April says, Roy was an excellent guest. I really enjoyed listening to his interview. JT Dredd says, let me go get this money. Ashanti ain't no cheap date. Dark Namja, 2 winky face emojis. Ramsey Dunn says, agree with Mr. Wood. Instead of always pointing out the things they don't do, please give them a sense of what they do right, then get them on the show and roast their ass about the things they have not done. Kim Wick says, came here from the Karen Hunter show. Love you guys, and Roy's truly a class act. Amakasi says, great episode. Ray Guns Media says, Roy is the funniest black man on TV. Cali bruh Mike says, bruh, Nelly's answer was straight dumb and had made no motherfucking sense. I'm a 20-year Air Force veteran. I deployed every other year after 9/11 and saw a shit ton of USO shows, and I ain't never seen no fucking Nelly or them Saint Lunatics, nor have I seen any advertisement with him performing. His answer is just as stupid as how people white MAGA would claim that kneeling to the anthem is disrespectful to the military. These motherfuckers conflate two subjects into one. Just because the military uses it daily, plus no one in the military, at least most black folks, give a shit about kneeling, so him performing for Trump means nothing with the military. Trump was never in the military. He knows nothing about the history of the military, and I believe just because he's president does not mean that I have to respect the office because he's there in the office. Thumbs up. I think that's, oh no, middle finger Trump and anyone who fucks with him. Okay, got it.
Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah, you want to get something off you? Christina says, great episode. Thank you. And the poll was banning TikTok, a good thing or a bad thing? 70% of our audience says good thing. 31% says no, bad thing. I just wanted to gauge the audience, see where people stood on it. I really do think it was a good thing, but at the same time, like, I understand all the trepidation about it, but I don't know how to tell y'all, man. I really think we are cooked as a society, and not because of simply because of TikTok, but part of it is on this full display with how much the TikTok shit affected people, how much people are right back on it, and how much people were willing to give Trump some level of like credit or whatever. Is scary and it's sad. And the way that liberal people on TikTok think TikTok is a boon for liberal people in their causes, and that's why people want to take it down. And right-wing people on TikTok think it's a boon for right-wing people in their causes, like libs of TikTok who've used it to harass people on the platform and shit. And they think the government wants to take it down to stop their right-wing success. I feel like that says everything. But if you're talking to either one of those groups separately, they can't see it. They just think they're trying to silence my freedom of speech. It ain't about your freedom of speech. It's an internet platform. No one's going to jail for making TikToks.
Right.
Like, at least not, unless they literally violate like the law.
Right. The law.
So it's not really freedom of speech. And I think the part that's really disturbing is when it comes to being radicalized by TikTok or the internet or social media, right-wing people get radicalized into becoming organized voters. Mm-hmm. Like those people, those bros in the manosphere that listen to Joe Rogan and those podcasts, they all got organized into being Trump voters. They went from not really fucking with politics to saying, actually, Trump is the answer.
Yep.
Left-wing radicalization talks people out of voting at all.
Yes.
So it's a net negative for everyone who's like, it really was a great place for left-wing people to organize. To organize what exactly? Organize to either not drink Starbucks or whatever you like, which if you look details into some of that stuff, you'll find out that even some of that stuff was misguided. Like no one wants to hear the shit because you're getting an echo chamber of information from TikTok, and it just keeps affirming you and confirming your biases. But if you took a 10-foot step back and looked at the bigger picture, and you'd be like, oh, that's not even based on something that's factual. But whatever. So it's either organizing boycotts, which they pat themselves on the back for, but we really have no actual measurement to see if those things are actually successful.
Right, and you're really not setting up a boycott because you don't have a demand. You don't say, if y'all meet our demands, we'll come back.
They might. I don't want to say that because I think on TikTok sometimes they do have like demands or do this, divest from this or whatever, right? I'm not in that echo chamber to say that, and I don't want y'all writing in to be like, we did have demands. Cool. That's not what this. My point is not that point.
Okay, no problem.
My point is, yes, it may help organize the we don't shop at this place, but it also helps organize the we're not voting. And ultimately, what was the net effect of TikTok and the polarization? More votes for Republicans, less votes for Democrats. It moved people towards apathy if you think it's good for the people on the left.
Yeah, no.
And only in an echo chamber where you are being told that apathy is good would you arrive at the conclusion that TikTok is good. That's the only way you can be like, yeah, it's good, because it helped us organize. It helped you sit out. So that didn't, to me, it seems like a bad. That's my, but those are my values that I'm placing on it.
True, and also I think when you talk about the net negative with TikTok and just the internet in general, it's a lot of shaming. Like, people don't like to be shamed, but they don't mind shaming other people. Mm-hmm. So what happens is that people come in being loud, sometimes being wrong, being misinformed, and being, I'm the only source and you should listen to nobody but me. Like that, like a lot of people do this shit. And then when people come to listen, is everything's wrong. It's attack this, attack that, like on both extremes. And particularly for the left, it's like if anybody says, hey, y'all, this is out of control, something about this don't smell right, all of a sudden you have the problem, you're the problem, and they have to shame you out the group. If you're somebody like, I don't give a fuck, I'm still voting for Joe Biden, I'm still voting for Kamala Harris, you become the problem.
Well, it became a fight between those people and the people that are like, we're not voting at all. Like, but at the end of the day, like I said, I don't see it as a net positive. I'm not saying nothing positive's ever come from TikTok.
Right.
There's people that have gotten money from it and stuff, but I just think in general that app, it does not care about us, and people treat it like it does.
Yeah, particularly and with American, and particularly once I learned this American and American arrogance, we ain't even using this shit right. TikTok is like, y'all supposed to be selling comment and mops and shit like this, and y'all come over here making it a fucking social media site. We don't care that you're here, but y'all ain't even using the shit right.
Yeah, I think it adapts to the people that are using it, but the goal of TikTok is to sell you shit. So it's like, they don't mind. I think it's actually the part of the reason that it is a little bit more dangerous is that they don't mind letting it be a social media site as long as it's to the extreme that keeps you scrolling, as opposed to some of these other capitalistic social media sites that is easier to divest from, because honestly they shitify the experience so it's not that they would love you to keep scrolling Facebook too, but Facebook can't help itself. They got to show you an ad. They got to show you some shit from something you disagree with. They got to show you something that makes you mad or sad. And eventually you just go, let me get the fuck off of this.
Right.
Whereas TikTok's like, no, we just want to keep the endorphins flowing the whole time and encourage you to stay on. And hey, while you here, hit the shop tab.
Yep, and that's why they have the endless scroll and shit like this. Yes, to keep you on there.
All right, so episode 3040, Crypto Cooning with JL Covan. Not that he's the Cooning, but the pastor. DB Man 12 says, man, why did it have to be a Detroit pastor shucking and jiving? Though being from Detroit, someone in the city will call him a coon to his face, so there's that. It was great hearing JL on the show. If you can see him live, he was great 2 times. I saw him in LA. Shout out to the real fans. Your Thunder says, I saw one of the Village people saying that the original band would never play for Trump. He said our Village people would never ever perform at a Trump rally. We would never give him the right to use those songs, and we would never slap the face of the strong, especially gay audience that made us who we are today. And she put a link to Instagram of him saying that, but I'll take your word for it. Shubudi says, oh God, I'm the only one that voted yes in the poll. The poll was, did you watch the inauguration, I believe. I was really watching because I had been holding out hope to the last minute that there would be some sort of Hail Mary that he wouldn't get inaugurated. Guess I was still in that bargaining denial phase of grief. Abby says, don't do it to yourself. You don't have to. EVE says, girl, why did you play yourself like that? Join the rest of us who have checked out. Take up a hobby and start playing video games because it's going to be a rough 4 years. You may as well spend them making yourself happy. Abia says, exactly. And if something important happened there, you will see it later. I try everything to mute as much as I can that deals with all the Donald Trump related and still saw a lot of it.
Yeah, because the thing is, checking out ain't really checking out, because if you're still on any form of social media, just out in the world or just actually just roaming around, you will hear you like Trump is such a rolling river that it don't matter where you are, you would eventually some of his water will touch you regardless if you want it or not. You're going to hear about it. So, like I said, I will come back, but like for me, I have stopped listening to all the political podcasts. Like I'm like, I am good. Like I know I'm going to come back because I am who I am, but I've had to take a break because my brain is like, I don't want to hear fucking 24/7 Trump and feel people's anxiety and feel their sadness and feel their despair and I don't want to feel that. So for me, I was like, I have to take a break because other people don't know how to handle this, and we all know what it's going to be.
Ramsey D. Jenkins says 5-star, shot out to jail for the comment about Buddy Pine and Crediboy syndrome. Rona Raphael says, this is super duper, at the same time too much episode for me. I hereby publicly tender my resignation from these streets. It's just too much. How are the indie hustlers supposed to survive with pastors, rappers, Stephen A. Smith, Trump, and more in the same pot? I was going to return back to the church and fulfill some family members' dream of becoming a pastor. Then I saw a video of baptism turn into an alligator attack. I'm becoming a Sikh. Never met a broke one in America. They got swords though. I'm joining a religion that's nonviolent and shares the wealth. I'm a changed individual immediately. Middle names for God. Here we go. Hustle No Flow says, regarding the poll, not only did I not watch the inauguration, I made sure to keep my TV off broadcast networks and news channels so that I didn't give my ratings to the event or any of the coverage. My friend asked what difference did that make, but ratings and crowd size seem to really get under 45 skins, and that's all I got. Also, Ryan, you made a joke about Snoop probably saying he was cripping at the crypto, and that was spot on. I saw him in a video from the event that posted online, and he said they don't let a real cripper in the crypto. Oh, God.
Of course.
Of course
That's
he did.
Hilarious.
Of course he did. Snoop. Dostak says, I will say this though. Okay, I will say this about Snoop. And like, forgive me, because I know some people are very mad at him at this moment and they don't want to hear anyone making light of or adjusting to their anger or whatever. And so I'm telling you right now, I'm speaking only for myself. This is not in judgment of y'all. You may take it as judgment, but that is not how it's intended. It's just I'm giving you insight into how I see the world, okay? When has Snoop not been a horrible person? Like, his messages have been bad for the black community the whole time. Like, maybe when he dropped that gospel album I didn't listen to, he said some shit. But in general, he has 100% been a man about pimping, drug use, violence, gangs. Like, and so I get why this is egregious and people are very upset with him. Don't get me wrong. But I think for me, I've made peace with stuff like this with all these rappers so long ago.
Right.
Like, I grew up in a household where their morals were not just wrong, but these were not morals I was allowed to govern myself by. You know what I'm saying? Like, I knew what I was listening to was essentially filth. And it was entertaining filth, but it was filth that was supposed to stay in the light. Probably not the dopest person as a human being, but made some good stuff.
Right. And
that's how I've always kind of consumed entertainment. It's dope when someone is a good person. Don't get me wrong. Like, some people live their raps and oh man, it's the best. And I love that for them. But I've always just kind of been like, I don't know, most of the music I'm listening to is pretty fucked up.
Right.
I shouldn't think of all the black women in my neighborhood as women that you just have sex with and disrespect and call out their names. I shouldn't think of other brothers on my street as people I need to kill or should be able to kill at any fucking moment. It's one of the things I love about Kendrick is how he reckoned with that violence and being from that violence and what that does to you. Throughout all of his work, it's a through line, and it's what I love about his thoughtfulness. But yeah, it's just, I'm sorry, but it's like, I don't know what Snoop really actually could do to disappoint me. And I wasn't on this side with the Gayle King shit. I know everybody else was. I wasn't. And I don't mean just because he called her a bitch. I mean, I really wasn't on the side of, you can't ask a woman about this guy that she's memorializing and his history of sexual assault and how you reckon with it. It didn't mean Lisa Leslie needed to answer for Kobe, but I could see people being like, I am curious how you reconcile that. That's what journalists do. They ask questions. You don't have to like the question. You can say fuck her if you want to, but for me, I was like, I can see that question within is germane to doing your job.
Right. And also for me, I wasn't with Snoop Dogg when what was it? Underground came out. I think it was Underground.
Yeah,
and
it was.
Him and other people were coming out talking about how they was tired of slave shit. And you go, well, if you go back and look how many of these shits really come out, it's like y'all just don't want to talk about it, period. Just tell the truth on the matter.
He's always been kind of a money mercenary, and that's his thing. And so you think I'd be saying all this to like denigrate him, but I'm not. I'm saying all this to say like I can't expect much from him, so I don't expect much from him. So it's more of a like shaking my head situation than a truly like
a disappointment.
I'm done with Snoop situation. If I was done with the negativity coming from rap, I would have been done with rap a long time ago.
Agreed.
And I'm gonna tell you right now, I'll never be done with rap. So
one of my favorite genres.
Yeah, so I just have learned to exist in a world where there's a lot of hypocrisy and double talk and a lot of bad actors that are really good at making good music. Dostack says the way my head shot up and I yelled nigga when y'all started talking about RBJ should have known that she would die of cancer and retired ahead of time, head ass people. The ones who complain about that the Democrats aren't working with the TVA to check different timelines and let that guide their decisions. One thing I've long enjoyed on y'all show, Righteous Prick, Rain on Your Parade, is when y'all link up, it's not just an enjoyable reminder that I'm not crazy, but that I'm not crazy and these people are fucking idiots. Can't wait to see y'all in jail next month. Thanks, Del Stacks. Evie says Stephen A is trying to come for Jason Whitlock's crown as a sports coon. It's so funny to me that those two hate each other, but they seem to share a lot of the same ideologies. Stephen is in desperate need of a nap. Yes. Sean says, always good to hear JL. Just one correction. These village people are kind of like the Nobel Prize in economics. They are simply not the real thing. In 2017, Victor Willis, the straight police officer from the original band, sued for the rights to the name and the village people, and he won. The result is that he's been trying to straight wash the group's image for the past half decade with subpar performers. The remaining original members do not fuck with him or Trump. Okay, thank you. I didn't know that.
And that makes more sense. That, because you go, then you go, oh, you the only one that has the right to say anything, so that's why we hear your voice versus the other people going, no, fuck you.
Victor Willis has also said he plans to sue anyone who says the YMCA is a gay anthem. Well, I guess we're getting sued. On the bright side, truth is the ultimate defense against defamation lawsuits. On the other hand, there's a lot of ignorant ass unqualified BS judges appointed by Trump and W who prefer Federalist Society ideology over the Constitution and stare decisis. All right, the YouTube, we got 8 comments. Let's see what we got here. Dark Namja, 2 winky face emojis. Wendy Day says, does anyone remember the Uncle Huckabuck song from Bringing the Noise play? That should be the theme for this batch of sellout black folks. I don't know that song. I'm sorry. M. Shamil says, I like how you can see JL go in and out of comedy brain and lawyer brain when playing Guess the Race. Big Tom says, Nelly cooked himself with all that buck dancing he doing for Trump. He would have been better off going on Tariq Nasheed's show. Cop it, please, sucker ass. Tamara Cherie says, introduced to this show to watch Rod continue to return for Karen. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
That's why I keep coming back. Anime Prince 204 says Stephen A scolding us for not wanting that KKK bag. Also, JL is fantastic. Great to see him. Turskine 7703, you forgot to play Rod was right at the 48-minute mark, so I played it in my head for you. As a Canadian, I've genuinely found you and Karen's analysis of U.S. politics, and particularly this past election, really enlightening, particularly from your perspective of people who are living in a red state. Thank you. And I really do think that means a lot, because I think we live in it's technically a purple state, but it's turning red because Republicans are just doing everything they can to make sure it's red. And I think a lot of the podcast political spirit, if you listen to people who talk politics, it's a lot of New York City, a lot of LA,
yes,
a lot of
DC.
Yeah, and especially when it's black people, There's very little like people that live in a place like this that talk politics and can actually explain why we arrive at a different conclusion, because we don't have the safety net.
Right.
So we don't feel safe enough to be like, I'm just not voting. And a lot of people talk that shit, but when you look at their actual cities and the decisions that their cities arrive at, who's in charge, you realize those people are not actually the people who are the majority in their cities anyway. You know, all the podcasts I listened to in New York were Mara Wiley podcasts. Eric Adams won that shit. It says something. You know, Rudy Giuliani was the mayor. You know, these are not necessarily people who are in touch with reality as much as they're wish casting, which is fine, but they don't even seem to be aware of this is just wish casting. And the thing about our podcast that I'm proud of is I don't think we wish cast. I think we talk about America soberly where it's at, and I don't think we really come on here and try to signal to people that to show y'all like I'm such a good person, I'm for the most extreme left thing. I think we're like, I would like that most extreme left reality to come to fruition, but it's not going to happen. And it's not because I personally am against it, but it is because this is where the world is. We need to find a way to push towards that reality. And it might not be tonight. It might not be this election cycle, but it may be a thing we can get if we keep pushing gradually, as opposed to, if you listen to a lot of the left podcasts from these safer cities and states, a lot of their shit is like, I just want to give up. Fuck it.
Yep. And, you know, as somebody who, like say, lives in this area, that's why that irritates me. And that's why, you know, I have been really, really adamant and about when people have wrote in and people talk on these podcasts and just out in the open, and they be like, well, y'all should just move. And I'm like, bitch, do you want to move? Like, you know, like it's real easy to tell somebody to just pack up their shit and move when you don't have to deal with the consequences. Why can't people just do the right thing and be right by people? Like it's deeper. It's like they've never really been challenged, or they've never been in a place where they've had to make a choice or a decision of, do I stay here or do I move? Can I afford to move? Am I willing to leave my family? Like, it ain't as simple as pack your shit up and goddamn leave, you know? And
also, I'm not moving.
Right. Why do I have to move?
Like, and I get it if you can't relate. I get it. But I'm not going anywhere. They gonna have to come fuck me up.
Yes.
And yeah, I know what you're saying. Well, that's stupid, man. Well, I was born here too.
Right.
And honestly, if black people didn't feel like that, America wouldn't even have got as far as it did in progress. And maybe you feel like black people shouldn't feel like that. Fine. Then you move, you go some other place first. But me personally, nah. They not getting rid of me that easy.
They are not.
I have as much fucking right to where I'm at as they do. I'm not giving it up.
Yes. Why can't? And that's the thing. Why do I have to move? Why can't I say I was born and raised here just like you? Why do I have to pack my bags? And what a lot of people fail to realize, a lot of these people that, and I will continue to say this in the next few years, a lot of people that there's nowhere in this country that has ever been safe. People are under the illusion that it is safe. Right. You have actually never been safe. There are people in New York that will turn their nose up here. Bitch, we ain't got stop and frisk. It's the same bullshit they do down here. They just name it something different, or it don't got a name. You know what I'm saying? Like when people fail to realize when they're arresting people in California and shit like this, just hauling them up and taking them to jail and all these other places that are quote unquote liberal spots. Y'all claim these places are goddamn liberal spots. They're not. Like, nowhere on this country is safe. And a lot of these people for the first time ever are going to realize the illusion and that they have painted for themselves and the lies that they have told themselves, the superiority to the rest of these niggas. You're getting ready to get a fucking shock when they come for you. And guess what? You're not going to be able to pack your bags and leave. You're not going to be able to go somewhere safe, because there's not going to be anywhere safe for you either. And eventually you're gonna have to fucking fight and be like, bitch, you not, or you're gonna fold and you're gonna take whatever the fuck they give you.
Yep, I agree completely, man. I really think, like, they ran up in Newark and got some people from immigration. They went to Chicago. They got fucking spikes at the goddamn turnstiles in the subway in New York now. They got cops in down there in the subway looking for turnstile jumpers and shit like that. Like, all of this stuff is a police state as well, but somehow, there's people that feel like they can look down or just tell us to move. Maybe I don't want to move to where the police are every 3 feet and there's spikes on the subway. Maybe I don't want to do that. Maybe I don't want to go out to LA where the black community burns down and nobody has insurance, because maybe I don't want to move there, and maybe I don't want a repeat of Tulsa. Like, maybe I want to stand my ground right here and fight for the rights in my state and fight for shit to get better. So,
right.
We'll see what happens with all that. But I just think, and I don't begrudge people that feel the opposite. As like, I'm moving. The point is, we're only talking about people's navigation of their own safety in a hostile environment.
Right.
And we're blaming each other as if we made the environment hostile and we're making the wrong decision.
Right.
But we've seen what happened to Tulsa. We've seen what happened to those girls in that church. We've seen what happened to Emmett Till. We've seen what happened during the Civil War when they drafted white people in New York City, and the white men went and killed black men in New York City. We've seen that none of these places are safe. We've seen what happened in Chicago when King came through the march. We've seen that it's not just a, hey man, move here and it's safe. It's not safe. And fighting is really what's going to be required of you at some point.
Yeah, and also, and I know I'll say this now, move on. It's going to be a time, and I really do mean this, where a lot of the online recourse is going to be a mandate that is going to be offline actions. I understand online is a quote unquote place where you can just do these things, but the people that I know this about that life and that are doing their work, they're doing shit offline. So eventually, all this shit that you put online, there's going to be a mandate that there's going to be actions behind this. Like it's going to be a mandate on you, because it's easy to be big and bad online, do it in these characters, paint these pictures, do it for the do it for the clicks, do it for the likes, do it for the retweets. It's going to be different between that and you actually happen to put your feet on the ground. It's going to be different between that and, you know what, you actually happen to take a stand and goddamn get arrested, because that's what people fail to realize. I said this and I meant this. We like to follow the rules. When it comes to these fights, sometimes you got to be like, I know what the law says, but I'm going to stand up for what's right. And sometimes what's right means that I have to get arrested. Are you willing to take that stand, rule follower? Are you willing to go against the grain? Because a lot of people are going to have to eat those words that they were saying, because it's really easy to be online and doing all this shit, but when push come to shove and people turn around offline, like in real life, look you in your eyes and be like, well, you said online you was gonna do this, what you gonna do? And it becomes real accountability, real responsibility. You're the person in charge, and you just can't blame everybody else and walk away. The truth on people are going to come out. You're going to realize that a lot of these people are fakes and they were fraud. And not trying to be funny. And a lot of them were doing it for selfish reasons and actually did not care about the people or the community that they claimed that they cared for.
Yeah. There's a lot of people right now that, was big talking during the election cycle. I ain't seen Cornel West since. I ain't seen Jill Stein since. A lot of we are teaching the Democrats a lesson about Palestine by not voting for them. A lot of them are silent right now. They have nothing to say about Palestine. They have nothing to say about Democrats or Republicans. As Republicans are doing all this stuff that is against the stuff that they claim to believe, I don't see these people marching in the streets. They're not doing shit. They're not organizing online. They've given up. And that was what we said would happen. And I hate that I'm right about that. That's not a flex to be right. It was extremely predictable. So, we just had to sit out here now and try to survive through what's going to come. But, people weren't providing solutions. They were just pointing out what all the problems were.
Yeah. And people talk about our ancestors and what they did in the past, but it's amazing how many people don't know their history, because if you really know your history, your ancestors got arrested, your ancestors got thrown in jail. It was not easy for you to be where we are now, but we are of a place where we quote unquote think we have the strength of our ancestors. Well, it's getting ready to be, well, do you really have the strength or are you just talk?
Jason says, JL is my all-time favorite guest on this show. Listening to his stories is like listening to Stan. It reminds me that it's not so bad. It's not so bad. Between HBCU marching band and the Crypto Coon giving that prayer, a part of me is disappointed that there wasn't an actual tap dancer just to complete the aesthetic. Yeah.
With shoes.
They should have had someone come out in blackface and do the tap dancing like the WB Frog.
And WB.
While I'm disappointed with Snoop, mainstream hip hop has been the most conservative genre of music for about 2 decades now. The whole point is literally, I'm not like you other niggas, so I shouldn't have been surprised. As far as Nelly and Soulja Boy go, they haven't had a hit since the early 2000s. I understand you can't feed your family on throwback jerseys. Yeah, man, but I'll say this: there's a lot of rappers I'm sure who are down bad who wouldn't have took that check, you know. So it is what they gotta live with it. The judgment. I'm not protecting them from judgment as much as I'm saying I have not thought highly of a lot of artists in ways that would make me think they were above performing for Republicans or whatever. You know, we lost that battle a long time ago. Did you watch the inauguration? Yep, just like Shoe Booty said, one person. Everybody else said no. 99% of people said no. One person said yes.
And we know that was Shoe Booty.
Yeah, I'm not watching that shit.
But hell I am.
All right. Episode 3041 is up next, but I'm going to play a little bit of music because it's about time for a commercial break. So here we go.
You talk to the average teenager of today and you ask them what it is about music that they like, and the first thing they'll say is the beat, the beat, the beat, the beat, the beat, the beat, the beat.
All right, last episode, 3041, keeping it hip hop. 10 comments. Let's go. Ramsey D. Jenkins. Hey, family, the entire colonoscopy cleansing process is trash. I drink veggie broth instead of beef or chicken. Rod, I like your idea of tasting hot and sour or egg drop soup. Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do next time.
I'm
Because it's
strain that
already
shit.
flavored.
Yep, give me that goodness. DJ Java says, these hip hop references almost killed me. Note to self, don't eat while listening to Blackout Tips. Thank you. I appreciate that. Abia says, white men do have natural predators. It's other white men. I don't even care why billionaires kiss the ring. They do and don't like it, and I don't like it. I came to the conclusion I would never understand some things in life.
But you know what, Apia, the thing is, they don't even know they prey. That's the scary part. White men actually go after other white men and only
Right.
poor white men, but because they trick them poor white men to thinking that they are actually the same and equal in the same class and don't realize they look at the poor white men like they look at any other, like they are actually in the other group.
Yeah.
But they don't actually.
She's totally right about it. I see exactly what she's saying and what you're saying. I think what's funny though is I still don't count that as having a natural predator. And the reason that I don't count that is like saying, well, you know, some lions eat their own cubs. It's like, right. But lions still the apex predator. So them cannibalizing each other doesn't really make them the prey, and they don't have a natural predator. They still walk around thinking they a lion till that lion eat their ass up.
True.
So like that's how white men seem to move about. It's like, I am still at the top. It's like, but you're clearly, the other white men are fucking you up. Yep, but we're a pride of lions. Like, all right.
Okay.
No sympathy.
Until you get fucked up too, I guess.
And then Apia pulled up, she sent a link, fact check, false data on U.S. racial murder rates. I'm not sure what this had to do with anything. Oh, because white on white crime. Oh, and then Shibuti replied, Apia the crime, white on white crimes. I love it. Yeah. Where are the fathers?
Where are the daddies?
Shoe Booty says, hello, my name is Nadine and I'm a TikTok addict. Social media dopamine addiction is too real and we can't begin to understand the long-term effects. I have been trying so hard to be more mindful of my social media consumption, but this is so far reaching. The tentacles are just into everything. I'm on that crack and I'm trying to be better. I don't go on Instagram anymore. I deleted Twitter, but TikTok has me. I'm trying to be mindful of my time and that I'm taking it in, but if it's gone, it's gone, and I'll probably be glad to be free in some way. I checked out TikTok. And then Apia says, I checked out TikTok once and noticed how fast 1 hour went by. It was so fun, but also too addictive. I never went back again.
Yeah, you almost get lost. Like it's like one of them things. You know how they be having the jokes where people blink and 2 hours then went by and you blink another 3. Like that's kind of how it was for me on TikTok. So I go on TikTok because we have to do it for the podcast, but when I basically own it, I'm just going to be sure everything posts, everything's there and things like that. But I don't really I have my own personal account. I don't even really log into my account. I always go through the account for the page and then I get my ass off.
I feel like there's two things about social media for me, and this is how I think adjusted my life around social media. The first one is, if it feels too good, like TikTok or something like that, I actually get a little bit scared and I don't be on those apps that much. So like all the apps that were the best apps, the most addictive apps, I've never really had a presence there. Vine, TikTok. And if I hop on TikTok, if I can't think of something to post that is creative or poignant or something, I actually don't make a lot of posts. I think it's probably because of my age, but I'm not into this like sharing every single thought you think of with social media.
Right.
I think the podcast is the best place for that.
I do too.
Because I get to share my thoughts completely as long as we feel like doing it with no real restrictions. And we can talk long form and the audience is more understanding because they opt into this, as opposed to TikTok. The algorithm may just show you this because whatever random reason. They may even show it because it pisses you off. Mm-hmm. Some of our TikToks have made it to the MAGA level where people are just mad at our show.
And I don't even know why, it got in the algorithm.
But let me tell you something. It does my mind so much good to see them say negative things about us and feel nothing. And I don't mean that performatively. I mean, I'm giving y'all my honest assessment.
I'm like, okay.
I don't even feel like I need to clap back. I don't like, the most I'll do is delete a comment if somebody is like too out of pocket.
Right.
But in general, because I have no presence over there, I don't want to make a response video. Now, the problem with that is that's how you blow up on TikTok.
Yes.
So unfortunately, we're not going to blow up because I'm not going to spend any time making reply videos and going back and forth with MAGA just so that I can like raise my station. And I don't know what's worse. People that do that because they're cynical and they're like, I'm going to fight with MAGA because that'll help me get more clicks on my stuff. Or people that are so naive, they're like, I just want to present my side of this argument to MAGA.
Right.
Either way, it feels like a person that's smoking a cigarette and not looking at the warning label. And I know some people make money like that. Hopefully they're not listening to this and hopefully not taking offense. But I've always felt that about TikTok. That whole ecosystem of like, you say something about me, I respond with a video about you, back and forth.
I stitch it, yeah.
It's basically like the comment section was given a camera, and it's not good for us. The second thing about it, and this is going to sound like a joke and it sounds funny, but I truly do think this is part of why a lot of my social media consumption has not really affected me in a way that makes me feel negative. I spend a lot of my social media just looking at butts. I'm not even trying to be funny. And I know everybody's supposed to be like ashamed of that, or you're not supposed to admit that or whatever.
Yeah, like it's a big thing over there. I got a private account or a separate account, right?
But honest to God, it's you tell me how looking at butts has been any worse for me than you looking up every motherfucking Trump video, you looking at people fight about who can date white people,
right?
You looking up at what black women hate black men and vice versa.
It's all the same crack.
You looking up at the 30 millionth Drake versus Kendrick IG post or fucking TikTok video. You getting fake self-help from somebody calling you a basic bitch. Like, tell me that me looking at Reese's Pieces Rainbow shake that ass one more time is somehow more detrimental to my mental health.
Right.
And I'm not watching it on some like I'm gonna fly her out or I'm gonna leave a comment in her DMs or nothing like that. Just I like looking at butts and people want to show them to me. That's the healthiest use of social media I can think of. And I know it sounds funny, but I'm a grown ass man, so it's not even like this is warping my sense of sex. I'm 18 and I'm forming my relationship and my thoughts about women. I'm grown. I know women are women. Sometimes they want you to look at their titties, and it's like, thank you for allowing that. Appreciate you. But honestly, it's better than fucking going back and forth with some bot about what we think about landlords or Luigi Mangione or whatever the fuck thing is everyone's mad about today. So I really do think looking at people should look at butts. Y'all should up your butt intake.
There's lots of them out there. People are willing to show them to you.
Even when I'm on TikTok, if it's butts, then I'm good. It's like, oh, I'm a 35-year-old single woman that can't keep a man. What's wrong with me? And it's just them shaking their ass at the camera. I'm like, I don't think anything's wrong with you, ma'am. Heart emoji. I'm scrolling to the next butt. That's it. Why the fuck do I need to be that? And it helps too, because if you're in the place where you look at butts, there's something about it. And I think more people should do this, by the way. I know you're all Puritans and y'all afraid of judgment, but I'm telling you something. If you're in a place where you're looking at butts, it changes what you're willing to argue about. By which I mean, you ain't never been in a strip club and start talking about tariffs, Democrats versus Republicans. What you ain't never. The only time abortion comes up in the strip club is, should I give extra money to the stripper to have an abortion after we go to the champagne room? That's the only time it comes up. But you're like, if you're just looking at butts and then someone comes out of the blue on Titty Tuesday and they say, I don't like what you said about Donald Trump.
Everybody be like, boo, get the hell out of here.
Right. It really does. The frivolity of it is what keeps it in check. If you're looking at boobs and then someone wants to argue Palestine with you, you start going, I don't think I want to be on the same place I look at titties arguing about Palestine. Right. That seems like a conversation for a much more serious place. So y'all should think about it, man. I'm saying something here. I know it don't sound like I'm saying anything, but I'm telling y'all, I am fucking on to something.
And an algorithm, and next thing you know, you just go, they're like, oh, you like butts? Here is more butts.
The other thing it'll help you do is when you go out to dinner with somebody, you won't be always opening your social media apps. Because it could be some titties on there. So you like,
you don't want to embarrass yourself.
I'm having dinner with like Keith and Liz. I'm not gonna pull up my IG
so they can see somebody. We going live at the club.
I'm present in the conversation. Cause it's like I don't know what's on. If I open up Reddit, you're gonna see big black titties or areolas or some shit, and you're gonna be like, "Wow, Rod, really? Right in my face, in front of my salad?" Right? Of course not. I'll cut my phone face down. Let's talk. How's your life doing? How's everything with the kids? You know. All right. Back to this. Evie says, dang, Aubrey is now getting clowned by the whitest of the whites. You know you're cooked when the average white person who normally wouldn't be knowledgeable about hip-hop beef is making fun of you. His arms have got to be tired from holding all these L's. The TikTok addiction is insane. As a current addict, I have no room to judge, but I can say I did give up Twitter, and I think my mental health has been better for it. But the TikTok ban had me scratching my neck like Tyrone Biggums. Where else can I watch all my cute dog vids and get recipes? That's the other thing. People are like, I gave up Instagram, I gave up Twitter, I gave up, and I'm like, the reason you gave them up is because they're shitty apps.
Yes,
they just kept getting shittier and shittier till you left.
Mm-hmm.
Then you went and said, oh, the crack got the fentanyl in it, I'ma fuck with TikTok, and I'm like, you just traded an addiction for a worse. Honestly, I think it's better when people say like, I'm just on Twitter. Or I'm just on Instagram. I'm just on Facebook. Because to me, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's one that you can easily, like, log out of. Because it ain't that good over there. It's like you find out all your relatives is dead, and then you fucking just like, I got to get off of this shit and go outside and live life and enjoy people.
Right.
You know, you go on there, and it's just, you know, oh, they arguing about men versus women paying for dates. Let me go out and live life.
Yep, it'll turn you off real quick. Or you go on there and you see a Flonase commercial. You're like, I don't see no goddamn Flonase commercial. So you like they purposely pump shit that actually will break your illusion.
Commercial, motherfucker I don't follow. All right, no need to be on scrolling this shit for forever. While my addiction is bad, I can't say I'm not as far gone as some people. There are people who deleted off their phone as soon as it went down, and now they can't get it back because it's no longer in the app store. Why did this girl film herself driving to Canada to get on their Wi-Fi in order to re-download the app? Jesus. And she showed y'all that? Someone else drove to Mexico. If I'm ever down that bad, please somebody shoot me. Sean says egg drop soup is actually mainly broth. Some recipes use only broth or broth and salt. However, I like to add salt, Sichuan pepper, star anise, mustard seed, and coriander seed. Put them in a tea bag, boil them in the broth for a subtle flavor. I generally use chicken broth, although after I make Peking duck, my wife will boil the bones for some duck broth, which actually works better for egg drop soup if you wanted to make your own. Thanks, Sean. Mm-hmm. Wondering if there's going to be an uptick in people using Huawei.
Oh yeah, that red app. It's like a red app that
it's not an app.
Oh, okay.
Phones.
Oh.
Huawei Huawei phones.
What is that?
I don't know. Karen.
Okay.
That's why I was having a hard time pronouncing because I don't know what it is.
Oh, my bad.
People getting Huawei phones or Huawei phones, I don't know, as they have a non-Google OS that is very similar but not run by a U.S. company, so exempt from the ban. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I don't know what the stuff that people are willing to do to get TikTok back is scary to me.
The extent, yeah.
It's just scary. We should not. It would make me worry about myself. TikTok went down and I was unbothered, but it would make me worry about myself if I was truly bothered. But yeah, this is where we are. All right, YouTube, we got several comments. 12 comments. All right, let's see what we got here. Gina says, when I have had to be on the only liquids for a diet, for a procedure, IR recovery, the Japanese soup you get from hibachi restaurants has been clutch. Just take the onion and mushrooms out and you're good to go. It tastes good and reheats well. That's a good one too, although I'm more into my idea of the Chinese soups, but I'm with you though.
Yeah, I like a good I love hot and sour soup and egg drop soup.
Dark Namja, 2 winky face emojis, Goodwill blurting. Hey, my favorite podcast couple, ride spot on about Zuck and his ilk. So much so his sister wrote a book about it. Donna Zuckerberg, not all dead white men. Growing up with a dude had to be problematic. Rap puns are chef's kiss. The rap puns are chef's kiss. Meth handing out old dirty whoopings. Old dirty woo whoopings. Again, much love. Thank you. Yeah, I think I was on Karen Hunter's show. I said maybe that dude was an old dirty bastard, but Honey Biscuit says, my 72-year-old black father just had his colonoscopy and they found polyps that could turn into cancer. They were removed and he is fine. My mother had to push him to get a checkup, thank God. Black people, get that test if you're eligible. According to the American Cancer Society, colorectal cancer disproportionately affects the black community, where the rates are the highest of any racial/ethnic group in the U.S. African Americans are about 20% more likely to get colorectal cancer and about 40% more likely to die from it than most other groups. Yeah, you got to stay on top of it. Mm-hmm. Rashad says, Rod is the Captain America of puns. He can do these puns all day.
He can.
Tipsy with the fee says, for my colonoscopy, my local pho restaurant sells the broth separately. That was the best. That's tight.
I wonder, can you ask them, can I just get the broth?
Probably.
I
don't know. Donatello says, the tech bros are mistaken thinking that they can control 47. Republicans thought the same the first time around, and look at them. No good ever comes of fooling with 47. Oh yeah, that is a match that is going to at some point implode.
Yes, it is.
But I am interested because I feel like both parties know. So I think a lot of them are in for as much as they can get and then abandon ship. Koki Neighbors just says, looking good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Janae says, hey y'all, great show. Rod, I totally agree with you about Cardi and Method Man. Your Cardi and Method Man takes. I remember feeling the same way when Kanye was having that crash out and he went on Alex Jones and was proudly proclaiming he was an anti-Semite. I remember talking to people and being so disturbed because to me it was so obvious this man basically was having a hyper public mental health episode, and so many people were just eating it up, whether they actually believe what he was saying or they just liked that he was being contrarian. It's like you said, people just being vultures and consuming people's lives for entertainment. By the way, my name is Janae, not Jane. I know it's hard to tell by by my YouTube name. Oh, I said it right this time. Oh man, that's crazy. I didn't even get to see this part. I'm getting a little better every time, Janae. Just saying, but because I comment a lot and listen to feedback shows, LOL, much love to y'all. I will try to remember it. You know, it's a lot of y'all, but I will try to remember it. Just like Cali, bro, Mike. Sometimes it takes me a while. And Michael, that's spelled Mikoll. It takes me a while. You know, I never mean any disrespect by it. And I'm gonna always try to show respect to people's names, chosen names, pronouns, all that stuff. So just as long as y'all understand and work with me, I appreciate it. You know, y'all listen to us 4 or 5 times a week. For a lot of times, as I read these comments, I only get to see y'all's names once a week.
Right.
And sometimes less than that. And so it takes me a while to build up a familiarity in my head to be like, oh, it's Michael, or oh, it's Janae, oh, it's Cali, bro, Mike. So, you know, thank you everyone for being understanding. Parish King says, I love your podcast. Thank you. And Jinxful says, you're exactly right, Rod. Folks forget it was a fight to get the little bit of protections against hate speech and disinformation that we had. I don't think it was until Alex Jones Sandy Hook lawsuit and them kicking him off of Twitter that these platforms took a stand. Yes. And let's not forget, they were always doing some form of censorship despite the claims of free speech. White person calls a black person all kinds of racial slurs. Black person claps back. Only the black person gets banned. Black people were the most likely to get demonetized on YouTube, despite the fact that you got some of these white dudes on here talking Nazi talk, and they were making millions, like PewDiePie.
Right.
Yep. Nothing but facts. The poll was, do you eat broth for pleasure? Okay, so this is not the people that are like, I eat broth because I'm preparing for a medical procedure, but you just go to the crib, you throw in a cup of broth and like, going to town. Not for dieting. Not like, oh, I'm trying to lose some weight, let me go get some broth. If you supping on it with that bitterness in your heart, that don't count. I need pure broth lovers. Like, I love a good broth. Well, 24% yes, they like it for pleasure, which means 76% of us are like, hell nah to the broth.
Because it's broth, but it's other shit in the broth. It ain't just the broth. It's broth and noodles.
I'm talking broth only.
Yeah, or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like I can get my broth to taste right, but then I'm like, I like the broth, but I'm eating other shit. So for me, it's 100% no.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. All right, last break, and then we'll do the emails, and we'll get out of here, guys. So here we go.
This story consists of my recollections of a very unusual young man.
Watch me do.
All right. Emails, theblackouttips@gmail.com is where you can find us. Our girl Shoe Booty says, sword ratchetness in my own state. Look at what I got here for you. A machete counts as a sword, right? It does count as a sword. And I will save this article in my sword ratchetness folder, and we'll pull it up during one of our episodes, I'm sure.
Yeah, we got plenty of them. Thank you.
Yeah, because they never go away, and there's always more coming soon. So I'll make sure to save it. All right, cool. But thank you. Let's see. Crystal says, Roy was dressed for outside. Hey, Rod. Hey, Karen. Or actually, it's Hey, Rod. Hey, Karen.
Hey, baby.
I watched the episode on YouTube with Roy, and I was like his son. I was wondering where he was at and why he was dressed like it was freezing. Anyhow, I have a broad question for both of you. How do you handle being so tapped into social media and the constant news cycle without freaking out? Currently, on a daily basis, I'm oscillating between total despair regarding the incoming administration and the urge to stick my head in the ground and ignore it all. I don't want to give up hope, but I feel so bombarded daily with some more fuck shit coupled with not knowing where to start to help. I see you and Karen discuss a lot of happiness without getting sucked down in the it all sucks effort rabbit hole, and I was wondering how you guys manage to function and enjoy with all this chaos around. Thanks for any insight, Crystal.
You have to find a balance, and everybody's quote unquote balance is going to be different. Like, you have to do whatever the balance is for you. And also, there are times where I might go days without actually posting or actually checking online, period. Like for me personally, like there are times I'm like, I'm good today, and also you're going to hear the things like regardless. So even because you don't want to stay completely disconnected, because there are things that are happening that you actually do need to be aware about. Like you just can't be oblivious to everything happening around you all the time. People do that. I get why they do it, because it's safer to just be oblivious to things. So when things happen, you can be like, I don't care. But you be truthful with yourself. You do care. Be truthful with yourself. You do want to know. So that's why I say, and I'm speaking for me also. That's why I say you have to find your balance, whatever your balance is. And also, you need to start doing things that make you happy, be it exercise, running, reading, playing video games, going to the movies, painting, hobbies. People have to do things outside of just consuming yourself with being on for me personally, being online and social media all the time. Like you have to take breaks. These things, and Donald Trump, I've always said this, and even white supremacy, it's designed to overtake you to where you drown. Like it's purposely designed to drown you to death with misinformation, too much information. Like that's what it's designed to do. So you can't consistently stay in that pool. Eventually you got to say, time out. All right, I got to leave the pool and go do some other shit. And then, when the time comes, get back in there. Like you have to do that, because mentally, spiritually, and physically, you can't take it. Nobody can take it. If you allow it to, it will stress you out. It stress you to death. It will start affecting your mental space and all that stuff. So whatever your balance is, find that. I know for me personally, find that balance for you, and it varies per person.
Yeah, I don't know what it is for you specifically, Crystal. Because I can't know. But one thing you have to understand is you being aware of something is not the same thing as being able to do something about it. And a lot of times, it can kind of trigger that impotence or that feeling of inferiority or panic. A lot of this stuff right now, we can't really do much about it. And I understand that some people always need a plan of action to address everything. It makes them feel powerful and strong. But sometimes it's like, this isn't on me. I did everything I could do. I prepared as much as I could, but some shit is inevitable. And so that's part of it. Part of it also is that the way my brain works is I find a certain level of solace in having things confirmed, even sometimes when there are things I didn't want to happen. Mm-hmm. So I actually feel like I'm not crazy because of how things went down with the election, and watching people who claim that this is all about Palestine essentially stop talking about Palestine.
Right.
Watch those people watching Cornel West and all these people like Jill Stein, watching them disappear into nothing. While it is outrageous and outraging, I can understand those emotions, and I've experienced them as well. Part of it is also a bit comforting to me to be like, yeah, I knew they would do that. Also, I think because I firmly put the election on the voters, and I don't need to have a distraction of blaming politicians and all these other people. I think this society is at fault for the outcome.
Yes, sir.
Or responsible for the outcome, depending on how you look at the language. Mm-hmm. And so you have to look at that and go, this is what the fuck people did, and this is what happened. And then the last thing is, so I won't repeat myself too much, but everything I said about butts was true. Just a lot of, and look, I don't know what your butts is. I'm not saying butts it doesn't technically have to be butts. Okay. Mm-hmm. Some of y'all are boob people. Some of y'all want to look at dick prints. I don't know. It could be anime. It could be video games. It could be book clubs, smutty books. I don't know what it is, but that stuff is online too. If I were you and you can't break the habit of just being online and it is making you feel bad, I would try to find things online that don't make me feel bad.
Yeah, for some people,
consume more. If it's sports, consume more of that. It could be a lot of things, but I would find things I enjoy and share and experience and teach my algorithm those things. For me, it just happens to be big brown areolas and and Centaur Girls. Okay, that just happened to be
Not
mine.
the Centaur Girls.
It just happened to be mine, but it's been working out for me. And I'll never lose sight of the fact that because I've read so much about American history that we're just living in some of it, and this was always on the table, and so yeah, I can't even pretend to be shocked that this is happening in my lifetime because I've read so much about progress in this country and the backlash to it. I'm honestly just a little bit more disappointed with the people that claim to be on our side but didn't vote or spent the whole time eroding goodwill and
arguing with people.
And I really just think they thought we were safer than we were.
Yes,
and now we all have to pay for that together.
Yes, sir.
Rochelle says, hey, Rod and Karen, I didn't get to leave a comment on the feedback show last week, but I wanted to say a theme song I will find myself singing every once in a while is the Magic School Bus, sung by Little Richard. I watched a lot of TV and have so many favorite shows of that era. I can still sing some of the theme songs or hum the instrumentals from shows if I hear the music. It was a good time. Yeah, I didn't even think about the educational shows, but yeah.
The Magic School Bus goes.
Mine was 321 Contact. That was my favorite one. I even had the magazine, the monthly magazine that went out.
Ain't that the one that goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? Oh, that's a whole complete another one. 11, 12. That's a completely different one.
I think that's just a Sesame Street.
Okay, a Sesame
segment.
Street bop.
Yeah.
That was my goddamn jam.
Now, they had some good songs on Sesame Street, too. That one of these things is doing its own thing. That was a good one. But no, Contact was like 3, 2, 1 Contact. Let's make contact. That thing. Your guests this week were great and I enjoyed the conversations. I'm a big fan of Roy Wood Jr. Like Karen, I have not been into the political news much or been on social media much. I haven't used Twitter since like November 2024. I have not watched much live news and tend to read more news since the agent of chaos has taken office. It allows me to pick what I want to get caught up on. It has been a full week of this mess and I'm exhausted. We still have another 4 years. Like Karen said, this was a group project and the group failed us. When I was a kid, my mom would say, the good suffer for the bad. It is so true. Thank you, Rod, for reading the news and for both of you giving your perspectives and insights. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Steph G says, hey, y'all. Hope all is well. Clicks Knuckles. Big, ginormous fuck you to all those TikTok people who were spent the last 3 months of Kamala's run, told people not to vote for her, instead vote for third party and stay home, who are now talking about the stuff Trump is doing as if he didn't say he was going to do them.
Right.
Yeah, I saw an article that was like, even though Trump said that he was not familiar with Project 2025, 75% of his executive orders are from Project 2025. And I just rolled my eyes and kept scrolling because it's like, yeah, we said. I don't know why anyone would report otherwise. But okay. Unfortunately for the media people, I think they probably are in the worst shape of everybody because honest to God, I don't think you can shock this country with Trump anymore.
Nope.
And I just don't think they're going to.
Ratings are showing it.
I don't think they're going to get the ratings and the clicks and the likes that they possibly thought they might get from telling people like, wake up, Trump is actually bad and he's doing bad things. I just think people are like, we know. You were the ones giving him excuses. You were the ones saying he wasn't going to do this shit. You were it wasn't us that thought that.
Right. And then when people were telling you that y'all were part of the misinformation and not informing the populace, you literally were not doing your job as journalists, as a totality, some were, but as a totality, you act like those people were crazy and they was just yada, yada, yada and shit like this. So
you're still making videos about Democrats needing primaries and shit. No one gives a fuck, bro.
Right.
It's over.
And like you said, the feeling, the knowing that I'm not the only one that tapped out, because when I hear like the podcast and you hear like how numbers are dropping, it lets me know, I'm not crazy when he won that I left. It's like, okay, there are millions of people just like me that were, and I mean this when I say this, were actually going to the news. You are the journalist. I come to you, for some of these spots. Y'all are the experts, not me. Y'all are the political pundits that actually do the research, not me. I go to you because you were supposed to properly inform me about shit so that I can make the best educated decision off of the work that you were supposed to do. That was supposed to be the contract. You failed me and you failed the masses, okay? And now you're reaping the repercussions of you failing the masses now, because you have people that were never going to listen to you. They already got their hotspot, they Foxes, they OANs, and all that other bullshit. So they were never over there. Then you have people like me that was listening to you to come to find out what was actually happening, and you failed me. I spent more time over the past few years, particularly once Kamala came in office and prior to Joe Biden stepping down, just fuming and being upset and just being like, the fuck are y'all talking about? It's like, I should not know more and I should not have more facts than you, journalist, you person, I'm not supposed to be like, this is not true. What the fuck are you talking about? Y'all are making shit up. You know, you touted things that were not important, and you gaslight me into thinking that I was crazy when I was like, I don't give a fuck about none of this. Y'all need to actually get to the root cause of the problem and actually inform me versus talking about shit that really does not matter. We're so many days away from the election and y'all are fucking bullshitting. You know, so for me, I was like, oh, I'm done. Like I said, and I'm possibility that I'm coming back. I had subscriptions and all that shit. I stopped all them motherfuckers. I was like, no, fuck this and fuck y'all.
This goes on to say, they didn't talk about any of the 80 odd page policy until the Saturday before the Tuesday of the election, wanted to nitpick about everything she did. Wanted a perfect candidate when that does not exist. Did you ever hear the right telling people not to vote? Fuck no. They always tell them to vote no matter what. The left nitpicks Dems to deaths. I had my own gripes, but I knew what was up. Don Lemon made me realize she would lose because the people he was interviewing on the street were so uninformed and stupid. Sorry to be mean, but it's true. Yeah, I will say this. I don't know that Don Lemon should be the reason you thought they were going to lose, that Democrats are going to lose, only because knowing how a TV show is made, they cherry pick those people. So you saw what he wanted you to see. If there was somebody who actually was informed, it would not behoove him to put that on the air. So if they had to do 10 interviews and 8 of them knew what was happening and 2 of them didn't, they're only going to show you the 2 that didn't, but that's just a little TV magic for you. Someone in a hair salon was like, what have Democrats done? Republicans do everything. And I was shocked. Don set him up that right. He thought Repubs were doing the things Dems did, like them damn checks. Dems have a messaging problem, but it doesn't help if you're liberal and you're working against them. So I told you I'm reading that book, Amusing Ourselves to Death. And I'm at the conclusion Democrats do not have a messaging problem. That's not the problem, guys. It's not the problem. All of us who listen to this podcast, they know the message. Mm-hmm. I've never heard a person say Democrats have a messaging problem that didn't understand the message. Not once in my lifetime.
They'll explain it to you.
I've never had one. They always have some idea of like what the Democrats can do better, but it's not proven that it would work. It's just their idea. It's kind of like listening to NBA guys who watch all the games but then go, well, this is why the ratings are down. And you're like, no, they're not down because of free throws or fights or 3-pointers. They're just not. Like the ratings are down for reasons that a person who doesn't watch it would tell you why they don't watch it, but you do watch it. So you're guessing that why they don't watch it. And that's fine. That's fine. But there's not a messaging problem. I think there's a societal problem that we are cooked. I think there's a medium problem, meaning television is not beholden to long, contextual, thought out solutions to problems. That it's not good for nuance. It's not good for context. It's why people say stuff like Trump won a debate when he just goes out there and yells and lies. It honestly should be an indictment on our society, especially people who call themselves Democrats and liberals. When they give him that, they should have to also admit, I'm part of the problem. Because I don't give him that. It's like when people say it's a good ad when he's saying Kamala's for they, them, but Trump is for you. And they go, what a good ad. What you're saying is society is cooked. Because that's not a good ad. Because it's not true. It's just a slogan. and not even an accurate slogan that proves anything. But we are beyond needing to prove. We are so caught in spectacle. Politics can't exist in any true form that is consequential in its execution when it comes to explaining your ideas in a place where a 15-second commercial is what is swaying and informing an audience of people who are supposed to go and do the very serious work of voting. The onus to stay and be informed is actually on the public. The fact that we even shift it to the politicians is really shameful. And we never say Republicans have a messaging problem. But then what do we highlight as the reasons Democrats lose? A lot of people who are Republican who seem uninformed, right? But we never go, Republicans actually have a messaging problem. These people aren't even informed of Republican policies. They're just voting for them, right? So we're cooked beyond even the who messaged better or not. It ain't a messaging problem. It's a people problem. Criticism is fine, but these dunkings were impossible to stay away from. They came from everyone, especially on TikTok. Now those people are worried and talking about actions and plans. Fuck you all. Why? Yeah, I saw someone tweeted out some shit about like, now is not the time to give up hope. Now is the time to organize. And I was like, okay.
Them days is over, dog.
Good luck. The time to organize was organized to get out the vote or something.
Ain't that the truth?
Like, I'm not even knocking the person. I think they meant it in all well intentions,
Right.
but it was like, girl, the time you read the room. Why didn't Biden write executive actions day one? He did, Claude. Why didn't the Dems codify the law banning discrimination in federal government that Trump just used an executive order to ban? LBJ, a Democrat, did that for us in 65, you lumpy bitch. Screams. They even talk shit about Angela Davis, who told them to vote for her because you can't protest under a fascist regime. I now think Biden would have won. Maybe I'm naive, but Dumpy only loses to women, it seems like.
Right. That's right.
Oh, it only beats women, I guess.
Yes, he only beats women.
Yeah, I really do think Biden would have won. And I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I can accept people saying I'm wrong about that. We'll never know. But what I do know is that much more qualified women that ran much better campaigns than him lost, and Joe Biden beat him.
Yes, sir. Sir.
You tell me what that means to you.
You tell me.
I hate these people so much, man. 2016, 2024. Now he'll replace the two Supreme Court justices who would rather retire with younger, eviler conservatives for the next 40 years. Will never rest. Thanks for reading. I'm still not over it. Never will be. P.S. Obama went to the inauguration because that's his job as a former president. Charlemagne, you skin bleaching dummy. Maybe those fumes from the bleach fried a few dead brain cells from their socket. Yeah, Charlemagne said that, and Stephen A. and them and Nelly, they just saying that to deflect from any level of responsibility for those celebrities that went out and cooned for them checks. That's it. They could have just as easily been like, I see why everybody's mad at Snoop, but they had to be like, no, because they want to keep connections with Snoop and connections with the power of Trump and whoever's in office and shit like that. They're not, these people aren't leaders. They're just motherfuckers giving commentary like me and you.
That's my whole point.
They ain't nobody. They ain't black leaders or nothing. They don't really care about our people. They let us down all the time. They say and do shallow, selfish shit all the time. You know, they not above shucking and jiving with Trump themselves. So like, once again, just like hip hop, I can't be disappointed in those guys. They're just telling us who they are, and they've always been telling us who they are.
Agreed.
Celeste gives our last email, Reading Rainbow. Hi, Rod and Karen. I won't be too long. The book you are reading sounds really good. I'm going to try to get it. You were both good on Karen Hunter on Monday as well as Friday. I appreciate you going on there because I think your voice is really needed. Thank you. That's very nice of you. It is so much going on that it's hard to find balance, but I think in many ways it is an opportunity. I don't know if they have the ability to keep up everything all the time, especially if there's strategic pushback, but ultimately white people TM need to get their people together and to put on their third eye, cue the music. All right, you're getting into Rona Raphael territory with this.
With the demands.
Cue the music shit.
That's hilarious.
All right. It There's so much going on. Oh wait, what is that? Cue the music. Absolutely believe they stole it, and there was not enough support information internally to really put it out there at the time. Like 2016, it took time to show the external interference and social media manipulation, and even Bush v. Gore, it took time to get the full picture when they were hanging Chads, and when Gore took it to South Carolina, they sided with the Republicans. I think that is part of the reason behind shocking all Firehouse bullshit. Well, that's definitely a third eye conspiratorial point of view. The only two issues I would raise with that, because here you wrote into the blackout tips, and especially me, I don't play that conspiracy shit. I like facts. I need it backed up, and so I have to at least frame this within some level of reality. For what you say to be true, Kamala Harris and her campaign would have had to look at everything we looked at and more, meaning internal data, physical paper, ballot counts, everything. Even in these local races where we've had recounts, right? Because this happened in all of America, not just one place vote for Kamala.
Right.
They would have to look at all of this, know she won or know some malfeasance happened, and then still conceded and still walked away, and no one said a word since. I just don't think that's possible. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm highly naive. I don't think there's any reality where Kamala Harris was the first black woman president and she said, well, oh well,
yeah,
I'm good.
I agree. I think if they would have had any evidence, they were going to fight, because like even before, like the lawyers like, we fighting, right? Because
they had lawyers on tap already. They were prepared for every legal challenge. I think, and I don't mean this in any harmful way, Celeste, but I think a lot of people are still going through the denial phase of grief. Mm-hmm. And we did win. They cheated and they stole it. The other thing you brought up was the external interference of social media. Once again, social media and external interference, not the same as stealing an election. So Cambridge Analytica did not make people, it didn't create votes, it didn't make people vote one way or the other. Mm-mm. As like people had to go up and either write in or go to an actual place and place a ballot. We weren't arguing whether or not the counts were wrong. We weren't arguing whether the machines were wrong. We were arguing strictly off of this. When Republicans lost, they were arguing all kinds of shit about machines, and everything turned out to be completely false.
Yeah, got sued and everything.
Honestly, I truly do believe America probably does have one of the best voting systems when it comes to just a tally of votes and getting it right. I think I'm not providing a place of real solace for you, because I think what I'm saying is a worse reality, which is people stood by and let this happen, or they voted for it.
Yes, they did.
And to me, that's much worse for America than a stolen election. I think what you're proposing is actually the best case scenario. I'd love to live in a world where the average American is a very good person, but they had an election stolen from them, as opposed to the world we live in now, where I think an average American is probably either a bad person who's MAGA or a bad person who went, I'm okay if MAGA takes charge because fuck it, eggs or whatever. I think that's worse than what you're saying. Not that they're having a worse off, but
yeah,
I wish what you said swayed me in a way that made me go, oh, it was stolen. Okay, well, at least now we know what happened.
Agreed. And so like for me, choices were made and the populace voted. And this is what for the amount of people that voted, this is what they wanted. For the people that didn't vote, this is what they wanted, because when you don't vote, you don't get a choice nor a say so in what happens. So you actually don't count, even though those are some of the motherfucking loudest ass people. It's like, bitch, don't nobody give a fuck about what you say. You didn't even want to put 5 on it, but yet you got something to say about the motherfucking meal. Get out of here. You don't get a choice about what we eat now because you didn't want to put in on the meal. So now we all got to eat this shit show, and so this is why I mourned and cried, because what Roger said was the reality. People wanted this, and this is what people chose, and there's no way to get around it. And I hate, and I don't mean to hurt nobody's feelings, but to me, everything else is motherfucking excuses. If you don't look at the populace and lay this 100% at the voters' feet Everything else you're saying to yourself is an illusion. In my opinion, everything else you're saying to yourself is an illusion, because the voters was the ones that had the voices to control and dictate what the future was going to hold, and this is what they wanted. In my opinion, like like you say, right? I feel like people are going through the process of, no, when it was this, no, baby. The reality is, people voted. This is the results.
The idea that all these people are having the same thought about the election and we still haven't gotten any actual evidence that it was stolen, and it's been months. I'm sorry. There's no conspiracy that competent. No, as if Trump and Elon Musk would have been so fucking careful. I just don't believe it. Now, look, if I get any evidence, I will happily feel relieved and go, oh my God, they stole it.
Agreed.
So this is not me saying there's never anything that will convince me. I'm saying just feeling away ain't convincing to me. I actually feel like this country is a Trump country. This country to me does not feel like, maybe it's because of where I live, but this does not feel like a Democrat, Kamala Harris, liberal country. It definitely don't feel like no motherfucking progressive country.
Right.
So like all those people are in delusion.
Yes,
and
they
and
are.
you can't talk to them because everybody's in their echo chambers. They all think everyone agrees with them, but no one does. Go outside and you look around and you realize there's a lot of Trump signs too. In any case, here's some really good books, pictures below if you want to add. I already own They Were Her Property on my Kindle. I haven't read it yet. And Birthright Citizens, A History of Race and Rights in Antebellum America by Martha S. Jones. I don't have that one. But yeah, They Were Her Property, White Women and Slave Owners in the American South by Stephanie E. Jones Rogers is what the other book. So, but I'm sure I'll get around to reading some more stuff about that because that's my jam. I love reading about American history and how terrible it is. Tomorrow we have a guest. It will be Brandon Collins of Drunk Black History and Medium Popcorn. And Tuesday we will have Jake and AC on from the MC University podcast, which is a podcast I go on all the time to talk nerd stuff with them. I really enjoy all those people I just named. So we shall be back at least twice this week. We'll see that play the other shows by ear. And of course, Friday, Rialto Theater, Raleigh, Durham. Y'all come out and see your boy, the Basketball Jones. All right, y'all. Until next time, I love you.
I love you too.
Mwah.
Mwah.